welcome back to my GCSE Science. In the previous two videos we looked at addition polymerization and condensation polymerization, and so far the examples we've looked at synthesize new polymers from raw materials that we've created from crude oil. However, it's really important to know that polymers aren't just things that scientists make. In fact, they exist naturally in almost all organisms. So in this video we're going to look at biological polymers, what they are, where they're found and how they're made. First of all, we've got sugars, which are generally based around the molecule glucose. There are different types of sugars though, for example fructose, which is found in fruits. And these single sugar molecules are called monosaccharides, basically simple sugars. If you join a glucose and fructose molecule together, we get sucrose, and during the process a small molecule, in this case water, is produced. Therefore it's a condensation reaction. However, because we've got one glucose and one fructose, sucrose isn't a polymer. It's just a molecule made up of one glucose and one fructose. But if you take lots and lots of these monosaccharides and join them together in a long chain, it creates a polymer called a polysaccharide. And examples of these are starch and cellulose. Plants use starch as energy sources, and it's made up of about 1,500 glucose monomers joined together in branched chains. Cellulose is made up of about 10,000 glucose monomers joined together in straighter chains that can be stacked up closely, creating very strong structures, and this is what plants use to give them their structure, in stems and branches and so on. So that's sugars. Next, amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks, or monomers, for proteins. In this example, we've got glycine, which is the simplest amino acid. You can see that it's got two different functional groups. It's got an amine, NH2, on one side, which is basic, and a carboxylic acid group, COOH, on the other side, which is acidic. The amine group and the acid group combine together to form our amino acid. And this is the monomer that reacts by condensation polymerization to make a polymer called a polypeptide. First, a small-scale example. In this example, we've got 3 glycine molecules, and they react together in a similar way than we've seen before, although in this case, the amine group takes the place of the alcohol group we looked at before. But still, we've got the OH from one functional group reacting with the H from another functional group, creating an H2O. Here, if we join 3 of the molecules together, it forms what we call a tripeptide because it contains 3 amino acids joined together. And in the places where the links form, an H2O molecule is produced. So in this reaction, we have 2 H2Os produced. In a polypeptide, we have n number of amino acids, joining to form a long polypeptide chain containing n number of repeat units plus n H2Os. In this molecule we've used glycine, which is the simplest amino acid. But there are 20 different amino acids that can all combine together in different ways to produce up to 10,000 different proteins in our body. But as we showed in the previous video on condensation polymerization, it doesn't matter what's in the middle of the molecule, as the middle section doesn't react. So no matter what amino acid you have, it will react in the same way as this glycine example. The last example of a biological polymer that you need to know about is DNA. DNA is short for deoxyribonucleic acid and is a really important biological polymer that's essential for life. DNA is a set of genetic instructions for the development and functioning of living organisms, and it does this by indicating the amino acid sequences of every protein in your body. The monomers for DNA are called nucleotides, which are made up of a phosphate group, a sugar group, and a nucleotide base. There are 4 different types of nucleotide bases, and therefore 4 different types of nucleotide. We've got A, G, C, and T. These all represent the name of the nucleotides, but you don't need to know the names for GCSE, so we'll just leave them as letters for now. In DNA, these different nucleotides react together by condensation polymerization, creating covalent bonds between the nucleotides and forming a really long polymer chain made up of a combination of these 4 nucleotides. DNA is made up of two of these long polymer strands that are connected together by intermolecular forces between the opposite nucleotide pairs. So DNA is not just one long polymer chain, but it's two joined together. And as the strands join together, they wrap around each other in a spiral shape called a double helix, which is characteristic of DNA. As you would have learnt in biology, this is then found in chromosomes in the nucleus of cells. If you're interested in DNA, you'll learn a lot more about it at A level. But for GCSE, this is all you need to know: that it's a biological polymer made up by condensation polymerization of two long polymer strands connected together in a double helix. So that's it for biological polymers. Here are some keywords to learn for the exam. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you again soon on the next video by My GCSE Science.